There, my voice should be a little more relaxed, not that I'm not freezing myself. Hate it when cheap people chew food, when people chew food while they're talking on the phone. I was doing that for a reason, because I was thinking about eating crappy food. People that are always eating, expensive, amazing, organic food and everything, but they're failing to realize that what's actually really affecting them is their environment, and the food is secondary to your fundamental energy production on a cellular level. Food, electrons are secondary. And that your connection to nature is primary. This is called being logical. We came from nature, we're supposed to be connected to nature, we are disconnected, and we're trying to cheat by taking supplements and everything else, thinking that that's just going to let us get away with it. That's like me drinking and mixing it always exclusively with OPC3, which is like a powderized version of one of the most potent antioxidants you can find. So whenever I got the odd time when I went and got just my regular blood work done from my doctor, I'd always have, no problems. But it doesn't mean that it wasn't bad for me what I was doing, and that behind the scenes, even though blood work looked okay, because of what I was doing, it was like, I used to call it combat nutrition, because I knew that I wasn't going to stop at that point because I wasn't ready. An addict will only stop when they're ready. One of the ways that you make a decision to stop anything or start anything is you need dopamine. That is your decision making and like consciousness connection neurochemical. If you don't have enough dopamine, you're not going to be able to power yourself to that proper decision. So if dopamine needs an efficient mitochondrial ATP production system that's connected to nature, and you're supposed to be outside, you're supposed to be pretty much fucking naked as much as possible, depending on where you are, but anyway, don't want to get off track. You got to realize that adding stuff in, and I'm getting to my point now, adding stuff to an already broken system isn't going to make it work. You got to tear the system down and begin fresh. So I know that I smoke the odd cigarette. I know that I vaporize nicotine still. I know that I still drink too much coffee. All right? But things that I do on a consistent basis that really matter are, I consume a lot of fish products now. So whether I eat once a day, or once every 2 days, or once every 2 hours, or if I gorge myself, or if I don't, I'm predominantly eating only marine products as my base intake. And now that we're moving into the winter, because the first snow came today, just a little sprinkle. Well, 3 days ago, I went to the Chinese market and went hunting on their shelves because they always got the same or better products than everybody else for a fraction of the price. So for you guys trying to eat healthily this winter in Toronto, I highly recommend going over to MtDna, anywhere from Dundas? Maybe go down a little bit lower, but you can just go up from even if you go up from College or Queen, on both sides there's good, there's markets, but there's one where you go underneath and it's got everything. Okay? So they got fish in there that's from Portugal, sardines, and all these different sauces. Some of them have this one had this pepper stuff in it, and it was hot, but it didn't stick in the middle of your mouth. It only hit back here because it was a certain type, and it only lasted, the heat only lasts for a little bit, so it's not like you're like, oh. And man, it was awesome because it disguises the fishy taste a little bit. Not that I really mind it with sardines and stuff like that. They don't taste that bad. I was never a fish person, but here in this environment, you got to eat a lot of fish. And you can take krill oil in, which I do sometimes, and you can take stuff like Norwegian herring roe, which I do sometimes, but it's not as good as the real thing. So that's one thing that you have to do and you have to eat here if you live in Toronto. If your mother's mitochondrial DNA, or, because some people say, I ask them, like, so where's your mom from? Where's your grandmother from? And they say, oh, Canada. Because that they know that I'm trying to get to the fact that their mom's from somewhere else. Right? So I'm like, look, let's just go back to your, like, great grandmother. How about that? On your mom's side. Not on your dad's side. I don't care about him. Men they don't need to be discussed in the optimal health equation, because it's the woman that passes down the energy powerhouses, the mitochondria. Just remember that. So they always try to play off the fact that they're not from wherever you are. So if I ask the same question down on the savannah, right, as somebody that was white or whatever, they'd be like, I'm from here. Human beings just do the same thing. Protectionism of your own, what is you think and what you identify with. So that's besides the point. I just like getting into all this shit because it's human interaction, right? And that has a lot to do with what you eat too. As you eat something different, everyone ridicules you and makes jokes. Common. Always. Doesn't matter what. Are we gonna eat that again? Oh, you're always eating that. It's the same. Yeah, and you think like 500 years ago we would have had like a wide variety of food. You would have been eating the same shit day after day sometimes for fucking months. Varied diet. You need sunlight and grounding and some really basic nutritional needs. Most of it based around electrolytes, minerals that you get from water that you drink that's pure and doesn't have fluoride in it. And it would have been, you know, if you did eat something, there was going to be some dirt on it. And wherever you were, that's actually the minerals and stuff that you actually needed from that area in general. Sometimes the natives would find something and it would just make them feel even better. So they just use that. But it's not like how we are searching for supplements, because what we're trying to do is combat nutrition. It's the same thing. Your environment damages you more than anything that you're taking in. And what you're taking in is part of your environment. So it's just it's a portion of the whole enchilada. Just a good food analogy. So I hope this is making a little bit of sense, and I think I might make this one as a series, because this is, I gotta go and listen to it again, put the proper tags and stuff into it. Tags, so I'm writing it down. I'm gonna have to start doing this too so I don't get off track. And when I re-listen to these things, I see where I went off track, but it usually was a really good idea, or where I started to, and I knew if I did it, I wouldn't be able to keep the flow going, and I'd get lost. But I can see where I was going to go when I edit, and I'm going to start making little videos about each one of those things. So, like the recording I made last night about, well, I have to tell you that in the next one.